And I would like to start this panel with a small overview of what lessons you take from this conference. What have you learned here, and what do you take for the future from here? And not just what you learned, but what people you've met, what changed by coming and attending an event like this. Can you start, please, Jose? Is that good?
Yeah, sure. Well, we have learned a lot.
Okay.
This is an important meeting, and I want to thank you personally, Nuno, because the students have to improve on the professors. So I am so happy to see you doing these things and to take Portugal worldwide with all these ideas, and people who have actually studied here, like the One Skin people. You know, it is incredible. Or the professor from also the University of Porto, Elsa. So many things are happening. I think this is just the beginning of this exponential curve. So this will continue. This is growing. 10 years ago, there was only one longevity conference. This year, I have been to 10 conferences, and this is just me. There are about 10 other conferences I couldn't go to. So imagine, this is incredible. But then really the first longevity conference in this sense was established by Aubrey de Grey at Cambridge University. So since that time, now at least 20 conferences this year. Actually, I say too many. But this is growing, so I'm really, really excited, and we need more of this. We need more outreach, more books also. Remember, more books. Here is a good book. The Death of Death is a good book. We need more books, more media, more politicians, and more people like Emily also.
Emily.
Thank you.
And let me also emphasize this. It's really important. Jose's book, and he's always talking about book, but I want to be clear on this. I did read the book. It's an amazing book. It really makes a fantastic introduction on the topic of why the death of that might indeed happen. We might indeed live a very long time. And this book summarizes the technologies, the history of humanity pursuing immortality, and how we're coming to a time where this might indeed become a reality. And it explains the technologies, the scientists behind it, and it really tells a story that's easy to understand for you at home, for example, who have not been on this conference. This will help you understand why we're so excited about it. Jose, thank you so much, not just for the book, but also for the fantastic talk you provided and the participations. Emily, what do you take from this conference, and why do you think these meetings might be important?
So first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me, and I've been online attending as a panelist and a speaker several times. So this is my first in person, exactly. And it's just a completely different experience. Yeah. Just the fantastic meetings I've had here. I mean, I arrived one day later because of travels, but just awe-inspiring meetings. The energy, the synergy, and the inspiration that flows across cultures and ages and fields. It's really inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Dear Rudy, you have also been, as Emily, on previous events digitally. What do you think? Why do you think this might matter for some people attending online? Why are these meetings and these gatherings valuable? And what other things do you think can help us improve in the future?
That question is for me, Nuno.
For you, Rudy. Yes, for you, Rudy.
I think so. To visit that. Yes, I can.
Okay,
do we have feedback? How's the sound quality?
Yeah, that works.
It's hard to overestimate the importance of these kind of gatherings where basically like-minded people deal with the positive possibilities of human potential. This is some of the smartest people maybe on the planet in the most important fields there are, trying to figure out how we can actually be around and youthful and intelligent and apply our rational minds to the engineering problems of aging and death. It seems pretty obvious to most of us on this conference, I would gather, that those are simply engineering problems. It's not necessarily something that's magical. There is no magical life force. A lot of the superstitions that, quite frankly, still rule most of the world unfortunately, I think we have to deal with as a legitimate roadblock to progress in this area. It doesn't mean we need to tick people off unnecessarily, but we do need to realize that science, the attitude and epistemology of evidence has to move forward. We cannot be held back by people whose thinking is still rather medieval. That's my observation. And again, thank you for the work you're doing and each of you are doing on the planet.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you so much. Dear Bill,
Yes.
you want to share your thoughts?
Well, the one thing that I noticed about this conference is the passion that exists. I mean, there's been a lot that's gone on in the last 2 days, but most notably was listening to Aubrey just talk. I mean, the amount of determination that he has is just amazing, given all the obstacles he has and stuff like that. But he's not giving up, and I think that's really great. And your introduction to Aubrey was really great too, because it talked about how things have changed a lot. In the beginning days, when me and others were, including Aubrey, were getting into this, it was like almost an embarrassment to have to tell people that we were actually doing research like this. And now it's a whole different world. So that's very exciting. And I think that meetings like this are going to only continue that. And I'll tell you, if I had $1 billion, I'd keep half of it and give the other half to Aubrey de Grey and his foundation. But I think it's going to achieve amazing things.
Very much true. Very much true. Yeah, and we have to convince the investors that it is worth investing on this area. As Bill Falloon did provide a couple of slides talking about the millionaires and billionaires that lost the opportunity to live such a long time. Why did they keep the money there? Why didn't they donate, right? As Bill is saying, why didn't they donate?
I hope you're not asking me that.
Yeah, that's the question. That's the question, right? I hope they're listening to us online. And they say, you know what? I'm making a difference. I'm donating. Yeah, and it's not just a donation. It's an investment, right? What if they knew they would be able to live for a very long time if they invested $1 billion? We're talking about people with a net worth of like 10, 20 billion dollars, some of them. Why didn't they decide to invest? They didn't understand the science. They didn't understand that life is going to be amazing in the future. What's wrong, right? What's going on there? And they had the money, as Bill was saying, they had the money to make a big difference. Yeah, that's a question. I don't have an answer. Beautiful. So coming back to the panel, guys, can you please get me the panelists on the screen? Thank you. Tori, can you hear me? Yeah. And there's Domenico. I was waiting for Domenico. Domenico is there too. Tori, your thoughts, please.
I guess two things. First of all, there was a time when I felt like something of a maverick in the world of the medical device startup community. You know, I felt like there was a lot of risk aversion in the community, and I had felt somewhat stifled creatively and maybe ambitiously. I think that over time, thanks to communities like this one right here, I've started to realize that a lot of that was internal. People generally seem to want progress to happen. And I will simply say that it's quite humbling and it's an honor to be in this company now. And interestingly enough, you know, recently I've been pondering, imagine if we get to a point where we are slowly uploading our minds, right, into some form of AI. Wouldn't it be interesting to slowly be training up an AI to sort of become ultimately a representation of yourself? And then potentially, if your physical body was withering away, what kind of a ceremony would you have, sort of saying goodbye to your old body and also sort of shaking the hand of this new version of you that's going off into the cosmos? Anyways, who knows if we'll get to cross that bridge, but I'm glad to be here with you now.
So much. Thank you, Tori. Thank you so much. Dear Domenico, you want to share your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I would like to, even though it has been a very complicated weekend, so I couldn't follow all I would have liked to follow. On top of that, my presence here was originally connected to Denisa, as you know. So I'm sort of with only one arm in this experience. So I would say I'd rather comment on whatever you might think I could do, considering that I am a musician and I'm in connection with this incredible group of people that are projecting their ideas of making the human superhuman in some way. I don't know if I'm using some weird words compared to what you are doing. So I don't know, what can I say? Do you have a question for me to give me? Yeah,
I do have a question. And the plan was back in 2019, in one of the breaks, we had a person coming on stage and doing music to show you that, for example, music can really change our mood. So there's so many powerful tools we can use today, and music is one of them. It can improve our physiology. It can improve our sense of well-being. And Domenico was kind enough to do his best to join us this year, but in the meantime, we couldn't coordinate everything, and that's why he's not with us. But it does show, and that's why Domenico's presence is so important, it does show that everyone can have a contribution in our community. Everyone. Musicians, artists, scientists, and most of the time what I see in our community is that people think that only the scientists can make a difference. That's not true. The marketeers, the businessman and woman, everybody has a skill that allows them to bring value to the group. And I think that's very important for every single one of you to understand, because it really brings you into an active role. You're not just learning, you're helping us build a better future for everyone. And Domenico, I want to thank you for taking the time to offer to come and do your best to join us. In the end, we couldn't bring you on, but it would be fantastic to have you in person over here.
With pleasure.
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you. And Emily, you two, play with the borderline of what can be used in our health, right? When you work the environment of houses for your customers, and you create a healthy environment, something that people don't even consider, right? A home is a home. But Emily says, no, it's not true. We can create a healthy home, a home that can improve your quality of life. You want to tell us a little bit about your work and what you do on those areas?
Yes, so there are many aspects of this. One thing that I am practicing more and more myself is detoxifying your home and not using toxic cleaning products, for instance. Or candles that are also, there are certain, you can, unless you are experts in this already, as I assume many of you are, you can research what to remove from your home environment to make it more healthy. And then what I focus on even more so is the balance and the harmony of your home and how that affects you. The colors that you surround yourself with, the scents, the materials, natural materials, the tactility of it, and also objects that have a meaning to you. So I like to invite all my clients to incorporate art or objects that mean something to them, not only buy new things or, well, I mostly work with secondhand or antiquities or reused objects, but really incorporating things that give you a sense of pleasure, reminds you of a sense of meaning, or reminds you of a place you love or a person that you love. And then also plants and natural materials. So also because plants purify your living environment, the air in your home.
And this is something you can do today. Looking into your home and think how I can change my home, as Emily was saying, to improve and create a healthy home, a place that promotes my quality of life. That's something that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose, these small things make a difference in people's lives. And as an organizer, as a scientist, as a pioneer, how can we, again, I'll address you the same question. How do you think and how can we, get stronger in the future? Because this is really happening, right? And you've seen the progress of the last couple of decades. In 10, 20, 30 years back, when you look back, you saw a very different world when you look into longevity. You saw the trend. How do you see it going forward?
Well, I think this is accelerating. Huh? In fact, I like to say that in the next 20 years, we are going to see more technological advances than in the last 2,000 years. So 20 years versus 2,000 years. There are many pioneers, and because we have our dear friend Bill Andrews actually is one of the pioneers as well. In fact, this year he got the Bacon Award at RadFest in San Diego, California, and we were with him, and the prize was given by Aubrey de Grey to Bill Andrews, the Bacon Prize for his incredible research for at least 3 decades. And that was beautiful in the Revolution Against Aging and Death event that we had. But there are other scientists in other areas, like Torrey Smith, who is kind of a singularitarian like we are, because he's more also in the robotics side, the nanotechnology side, like Ray Kurzweil himself. So there are pioneers on many areas. And Rudy Hoffman, that I also know for a long, long time, who is totally devoted to Plan B. To cryonics. We are into Plan A, but we need Plan B, just in case. So yeah, we have pioneers in many of these areas and in different aspects, because Rudy Hoffman, he comes from the insurance side. But we also heard Greg Fay, that comes from the scientific side, also into cryonics. Or we heard from Paul Spiegel, who comes from the legal side into cryonics, and how we need a marketing approach. So actually, I think we need a lot of more marketing, positive marketing for longevity, positive marketing for cryonics. And well, I am positive also. I think this is growing. There are more researchers, there is more money, and this should continue. And I am so excited because it is never a good time to die, never. But especially not now, because we are so close to rejuvenation technologies that it would be a disaster to die now. But we have Plan B. We have Plan B. I hope we don't use Plan B, but we are approaching rejuvenation technologies very fast. As Ray Kurzweil says, by the year 2045, we will have rejuvenation technologies for everybody. So it doesn't matter how old we are when we arrive in 2045, because we will be younger in the future. So please remember, let's watch this video in 2045 so that we can remember how old we were today. How old we were today. So anyway, I'm truly excited. The future is fantastic. We are between the last mortal generation and the first immortal generation. So this is the time to accelerate the process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dear Rudy, one of the questions that was raised here was on cryonics and how can cryonics be funded? You want to talk a little bit about it?
I would be thrilled to talk about that exact thing. My message and my vision is much more simple and straightforward than many of the fine researchers and many of the things that you incredible people do in your life. I have kind of committed and tried to focus my energies on one simple thing, and that is that cryonics is an affordable venture for most people. Hence the book, The Affordable Immortal, Maybe You Can Beat Death and Taxes, that I wrote a couple of years ago. The basic idea is, of course, is that cryonics, while it is a fairly costly adventure, through the leverage of life insurance, all of a sudden becomes quite affordable to the vast majority of people living in, call them fairly in first world, most first world countries. And especially for those who you might be who are listening and who are in Europe now, there's a tremendous operation that's occurring. Tomorrow Biostasis, which I have no direct relationship with. I'm not selling life insurance for them because they're in Europe and we operate in the United States. But Tomorrow Biostasis, I want to put a word in for, because they basically have had an amazing amount of growth in a short period of time. They're basically doing cryonics in Europe, and they've made again, using the leverage of life insurance, they've made this very affordable. And so basically, and if you're in the United States, once again, you can get this bracelet on your wrist. And I want to explain that cryonics is a real binary thing. let's face it, a lot of the components of anti-aging and trying to figure out how we're going to attenuate aging and then eventually reverse it, that's a really long-term project, let's face it. And let's not be overly sanguine that this war is won and have you be one of the many cautionary tales of people who was deeply involved in the anti-aging movement who unfortunately are no longer with us. I am actually developing a whole series of slides on these people where all basically these are really smart people, but did not necessarily, although some of them did, or the ones that actually did sign up for cryonics, we think may be with us in the future. So it's a very binary thing. Either you got one of these bracelets on your wrist, and by the way, I have two of them because I'm actually a member of two different cryonics organizations, both Alcor and the Cryonics Institute in Michigan as a backup. But the point being, this is an affordable technology that you can check out. Go to the Alcor website, go to the Cryonics Institute website, go to the Tomorrow Biostasis website, and find out how affordable this can be for you and your situation. So that's my simple, straightforward message.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rudy.
1 second there.
Sure.
I just want to say we translated Rudy's book into Spanish, The Affordable Immortal. It is now on the second edition in Spanish, and I had the pleasure to write the prologue to the Spanish edition. So Rudy, your book is doing very well in Spanish also.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Muy bueno.
Thank you. And it's called The Affordable Immortal because what Rudy explained is that for young people, it's really affordable to be joining these cryonics communities. It's really like 20, 30 euros a month, and it covers a life insurance that can pay all the costs if something happens.
Real life insurance. Because right now what we have is death insurance.
Exactly.
There is no life insurance now except for cryonics insurance. Exactly. That's the only life insurance we have.
Exactly. The current concept of life insurance is that you have a life insurance that if you die, gives money to the people who stayed here, right? That's great. But this one is really life insurance. It pays for your cryopreservation to keep you on hold when new medicine comes in and can save your life. So thank you, Rudy. Thank you for the amazing book. That was fantastic. Dear Tori, but this future where we, have technology that allows us to eventually revive chronic patients and, take care of all the diseases requires technology and robots. What are the next steps in your technology? You're currently looking to the gastrointestinal tract. Do you see this going to the brain and to other organs? You want to give us a snapshot of the future you envision?
Absolutely. So there's two futures for this company. One is, what is the furthest I think I can personally push this technology, right? And to that one, I think it would be something, say, relatively humble. Imagine a rice grain that was capable of crawling around through layers of tissue, something the size of, say, like a botfly larva. You could probably use a platform like that to do surgery, right? I mean, almost imagine if you could hijack a botfly larva itself, send it deep into the brain, and actually have it attack a tumor instead of just sort of hollowing out a cavity, right? Yeah. It's very interesting to see where the mechanical and the biological might overlap. But then beyond that, there's the obvious deep dive. As Dr. Feynman said, there's plenty of room at the bottom, right? We have many orders of magnitude to go down before we are at the molecular level. Right. And so what I hope is that with Endiotics, we simply show the medical community that you can use a relatively humble robotic pill as a telemedicine offering, right? Just get people used to the idea that you can use a robotic platform to do any kind of medicine. And then I'd like to see what the future students and engineers come up with, because nothing would please me more than for people to tell me that it's time for me to retire and get out of the way because our technology is just completely obsolete, right? I just want to make this normal.
It's about building a better future together. Dear Domenico, I know you have a hard stop at 7:30, but I want to take this time to again thank you. And we're counting on you for coming in person in our next edition. That works for you?
With pleasure. And, we will be being in company with the sound frequencies as many of you know, sound is getting more and more attention also in the medical field, in the possibilities to have an vibrational, informative connection with the cell and within the cell. So this is another future that is ready for exploration. Many things have been already done. Now most of the work is in the laboratories, so it's not in vivo yet. But when we will be able to bring the power of sound frequency in vivo more at the molecular level, we will see a very promising future. So thanks for the big work you're doing, and I have to say hello because I have another appointment.
I know. Thank you so much, Domenico. Thank you so much. Dear Bill, as Jose was saying, the community recognizes the amazing work you've done. And the prize you just received summarizes that recognition. What is your vision for the next couple of decades?
Well, I would prefer you to ask me what's my vision for the next couple of months. But first of all, I want to say I'm honored to have received that award, especially to be presented by Aubrey. Now, Jose called me a pioneer. Jose doesn't realize, maybe he does, that he's also a pioneer. He has, his impact on the field has absolutely caused a rebirth of the entire field. Okay, it's what he's doing is just amazing. But as a pioneer, I don't want to end up in Rudy Hoffman's slides of the people that passed away that have been working on trying to cure aging. I have every intention of not being there. But I think that the word pioneer is unfortunately implying that it's taking a long time, okay? Because we're pioneers because the field's existed so long. The field's going to end when we actually do find a way to cure aging. And I want that not to happen in the next few decades. I want that to happen in the next few months. And it's all funding. You know, it's like we have brilliant brains, Aubrey, me, of course I want to be modest here, but Greg Fay, Liz Parrish, on and on, Nuno, you. I mean, we've got a lot of really great thinkers working on trying to cure this aging, and I just can't imagine the possibilities that we could achieve if we had the funding to allow us to do everything that we can imagine. So that's the thing, and I think that we could have some major impacts done in just a few months, not a few decades.
Absolutely, Bill. Thank you so much again. And to finish, I'll just go around the panel for some very quick final thoughts. We're a little tight on time, but very quick final thoughts. Would you mind the mic? Yeah, Emily, some final thoughts you would like to address to our audience.
That's a good one. Well, the remembrance, well, so I don't know if that was spoken about yesterday, but one thing that really helps me, and not only in my day-to-day life, but also in really the pursuit of a more balanced and joyful life, is not only meditation and taking care of my inner and outer space, but it's also the appreciation for beauty and whatever that means to you. So that's a little seed I'm planting for you tonight.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beauty is so important in our lives. It's true. Jose, some quick final thoughts.
Well, I hope that everybody remains alive and that next year comes to Healthy Masters here in Portugal, or to Longevity Summit Dublin, or to Longevity Summit Madrid, or to RADFest, Revolution Against Aging and Death, or one of the other 20 conferences next year. So you have to come to this conference to learn more, and also to read my book next year, finally in English. Finally in English. So actually, I recommend that you read it in Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Russian, Turkish, Arabic, but it will be in English next year. So that's my consolation for next year. But do come here and go to the other conferences. We need to keep on building the community, supporting each other, and changing the world. This is our mission. This is our purpose. And as I said before, if it is not you who will be it? And if it is not now, when will be it? So let's do it now, and it is all of us together.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dear Rudy, some final thoughts?
The profundity and depth of this group is really impressive, and quite frankly, it makes me very modest about my own sense of depth and accomplishment. Let's face it, we all think we all are special, but when we realize, when I see, for instance, the depth of a public intellectual book, I've been reading Homo Deus by, some of you may have read Harari's Homo Deus, and it makes you realize how high the bar for genuine being a public intellectuality is. But this is us. I love the fact, you appreciate the fact each of us has our contribution to make. I finally realized I don't have the goodies to be a public intellectual. I don't have the goodies to be a scientist. I do have the goodies to express one thing over and over. That is, you really need to find out how affordable cryonics might be for yourself. If this is a fit right now, if it may be a fit right now, that's okay. If it's a fit in the future, at least you'll have done some research so that when the time comes for you to pull the trigger, you'll have done a bit of homework. So that is my request for you.
So much. Thank you, Rudy. That was fantastic. Dear Tori, would you please be kind enough to share some final thoughts?
Well, I would like to say that our first time speaking with you and in these wonderful groups that you assemble, I was literally based in my living room. And much of this art was on my wall in my living room. And we hadn't even raised $1 million at that point. But you gave us a stage. And through that, we've been able to make friends and collaborate with people all around the world. And now we've raised several $1 million, and we're in an 800 square meter facility here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we are being able to take calls from the leading venture capitalists all around the world. So that's the value of this community right here. And we would love to participate in that. So please send me young entrepreneurs who are looking to raise money. We've built quite a network. And if there's any way that Endiotics or our extended network can be useful to this community, we would be so very honored to continue to participate. And let's fly out and do this in person soon.
Absolutely, Tori. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the amazing work you're doing. And it's very much deserved. What you guys are doing is really pioneering and important for society. Thank you so much. Dear Bill, to close this panel, final thoughts.
Well, I've heard a version of this said a few times already, but 150,000 people are dying every day from aging in this planet. And a lot of people are saying we should be spending our time on bigger, more important problems that exist in the world. But I think this is the biggest problem. And I've heard Aubrey say this too. 150,000 people dying a day is a major problem. We've got to work on it. And I think conferences like this is what's really going to help us all out in getting this research done. And I just want to, since I'm the last speaker, I just want to say, Nuno, this was a absolutely wonderful conference. And I think you did a fantastic job in organizing this conference. So thank you very much.
So much. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And again, for our panelists, thank you so much for being with us today. For all of you, thank you for being such an amazing audience. It was a pleasure to moderate this panel. Did my best as I could, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to see you, not just you in here again, but all of you at home. We have so many people attending at home. Join us. And it's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you here in person in our next edition. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Here in person, my friends.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.